Texas, okay? So we've got Congressman Jake Ellzey.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for holding this hearing. And President Zourabichvili and Minister Shelley, thank you for being here. And first, I'd like to say, watch out for yourself, because we know who the enemy is. Evil can never be eradicated. It can only be suppressed. And if we take our feet off of the neck of evil, it emerges stronger yet again. In 1994, we made a deal with the Russians and the Ukrainians that we would not allow them to be attacked, and if they were, we would back them if they just gave up their nuclear weapons. In 2005, 2008, Georgia stood side by side with us, and I was flying over the skies of Afghanistan. I was flying over the skies of Iraq in my Super Hornet. You guys were right there with us. On a per capita basis, more than any other country. And we're still right here with you. But it's been 30 years. It seems like yesterday since the Rose Revolution. And you think you've got these hard-fought battles, but after 26 years in power, Vladimir Putin has shown that he is the enemy. And the enemy only kills, steal, and destroy, and that's in the Bible. And he is proving himself to do that. And his unnatural fascination, his obsession with Stalin, makes Georgia a mark. So in 2008, when he was going to see what the countries of the free world would do if he started down this path. The shot heard around the world about what Vladimir Putin's true intentions were in his power started in Georgia. And then it went on from there. And it really doesn't matter what you see in the news. This is proof where we have just a few members, but we're all very busy doing other things. And as I apologized, and I'll apologize to you, I've been stepping out to do votes on Appropriations Committee hearing right across. But I'm deeply interested in this, and I care deeply about your country. I don't have any questions today, and we can talk about the corruption. But ultimately, this is big evil versus good going after them. And it looks a lot like 1938, 39, and 40 to me right now, with four nations with genocidal tendencies. And all these four nations, the Iranians, the North Koreans, the Russians, and the Chinese, are actively committing or have plans for genocide for the countries that they want to take over. What they're doing in Ukraine is not a war, it is a genocide. They have designs, and they're doing false flags with Finland right now. They are claiming that Finland is going to attack them. The playbook is being heard over and over and over again. I'm very proud that Europe is standing up the way they are. We need to keep in mind that Georgia has always been there for us, and they're a Western-oriented country that we need to continue to support in any way we can. Because when you're not paying attention, people like Putin gobbles up small nations of small populations, but with a lot of spirit, because he's the enemy. And I'm not afraid to say that, because he's proven it. And so there are more than you might see up here, and there are more in Congress than you might see on any TV station who still believe in the ideals of freedom and democracy around the world. And it doesn't have to look like ours. But ultimately, we believe in it and will support. And especially with Joe Wilson, who has been a strong advocate, I mean, everywhere he goes. You want to know what we really think? Ask Joe Wilson. We understand the cost of Vladimir Putin being able to pick off small nations. We don't want to see that. So while some nations aren't a member of NATO, we know what's coming, and we're paying attention to history. If we don't pay attention to history, the whole world will be engulfed again. So Putin has to be stopped. Georgian dream has to be stopped. And I just want to say with just a little time that we're on your side. And I think it'll manifest itself in real ways. And so stay strong, but watch yourself, because we know what the enemy does. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
If I
Congressman
may,
Ellzey. And yes, please.
just react to that. I fully share what you've said on 2008, that Russia was testing in Georgia the renewed military aggression that we had known from the Soviet times and before. But for the first time, the new Russia was testing its military aggression in Georgia. And in fact, after the aggression in Georgia, it revised its military strategy, some components of the military force, some modernization. So it was really a test case for Russia. And that's from this test case that they moved to Crimea and then to 2022. What I think is happening today is that the military aggression on Ukraine has not worked in the way that Mr. Putin was expecting. In fact, he has suffered a defeat, militarily speaking, because 3 years and a half for the big Russian military that without succeeding to move but some kilometers is not a success. And so without publicly admitting that and continuing certainly their attempts to reduce Ukraine, they are looking at alternative strategies. And Georgia is again the test case for the alternative strategy. And the alternative strategy is how do you capture a state without arms, but with rigged elections, propaganda, some money, but that's not the decisive form, and the proxy government. That
And Georgia and Moldova are both suffering from that right now.
Are both in the same situation. Moldova saved itself thanks to the diaspora, which we could not use because despite all our efforts, we were not allowed to, and I didn't have the powers that Maya Sandu had, to open the precincts that we needed in the foreign countries, because our diaspora, which is 1 million more out of 4 million within Georgia, was practically not allowed to vote because just 17,000 persons were allowed to vote. So we were not saved by the diaspora. We were not saved by the Constitutional Court, unlike in Romania, because our Constitutional Court already was under the full control of the one-party system. So this trilogy of rigging elections, propaganda, and proxy government is something that, if it works in Georgia to the end, and we're still resisting that, if it works, it will be used elsewhere. That's a given.
Well, I'd just like to close by saying this, is that evil is ruthless. We learned that, it's always been true. And in World War II, that's the only way we won. They eat kindness for a snack. Mm-hmm. They eat deals and negotiations for a snack. And I just hope that the Western powers recognize how do you push back against that without going to worldwide conflagration. And it has to happen. But kindness is not the path. And I just hope we don't have to redo this because we've forgotten what history has shown us.
And indeed, thank you so much, Congressman. And Madam President, Defense Minister,